Since 2003, this is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Presented by Pipe Wrench, and by Junk Be Gone, and by the Garza Law Firm.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning and welcome into the Junk Be Gone studios for today's episode of the Sports Source. We're happy to have you with us today. We have a packed show. It's game week. I mean, you're 6 days away from Tennessee's opener. It's amazing how the offseason flies. We'll be talking Virginia. We'll be talking about issues that Tennessee's facing. We'll talk about key players this week and moving forward. Season predictions. You're going to be able to show us your season predictions. You show us your season predictions, we'll show you ours. Also, the Cavaleros line, and you this week, today, starting today, will have a chance for the first time to play against us. Do you know the Vols better than we do? Probably. Prove it. Pick against us here on the Cavaleros line. We'll show you how to do that a little later. Big show. Let's get into it. First segment brought to you by the Garza Law Firm. Wherever you are across East Tennessee, if you need legal representation, there is one place to start and finish. That's the Garza Law Firm. With offices in Knoxville, Jacksboro, and for our online viewers, they also have an office in the Tri-Cities area. Marcos Garza and his attorneys are ready to put you at ease. And let me tell you, if you ever need an attorney, I'm sure that is a situation where you are nervous and you want somebody to put you at ease. That's what the Garza Law Firm does. GarzaLaw.com to learn more. We thank them for being a big part of this show and for being a big part of this community. All right, let's welcome in the first group of panelists today. Now, if you followed me on Twitter, you did see that we teased the fact that Will Overstreet would be here today. Couldn't be with us today. We wish him well. So instead, we're bringing back somebody from our past. One of our returning champions is back with us. He'll be out here in a second. But let's introduce this first group. Chuck Cavaleros right here. Will West right here. Bob Hodge right there. Good to have you back, Bob.
Glad to be here.
All right. So as we get underway, let's go ahead and put up the poll. There you go. You can tell us what you're thinking. Just click the QR code with your smartphone camera or go to sportsource.tv/polls and you can tell us your answers. For Tennessee's regular season record, what will it be? You've got four choices: 8-4 or worse, 9-3 exactly, 10-2 exactly, 11-1 or better. So those are your four choices. Go ahead and click away, and you can watch the little bars move as we go here. The more people that vote, the slower the bars move. But keep voting. We'll tally this and show you at the end of the show how you came up with it and what your final vote was, and we'll give you our predictions as well. All right, Virginia is up on Saturday. Heading into that game, health appears to be really the only concern that Tennessee's got right now. Yeah. You feel good. They're saying the right things about everything else over there. So you're looking at the fact it's really someone we've been talking about for 3 weeks now, Cooper Mays. Yes. And we said at the time when he had they called it a minor procedure, abdominal issues. When he had that done, they said, well, we think we'll get him back, but who knows? And we commented that they'll take that right up to game day and say it's a game time decision. That's what you're going to get. The other guy who has now been lost for a few weeks is Elijah Simmons on the defensive line. So those two guys, I will give you a choice right here off the top. Bob, who's more important to that in terms of getting one of those guys back? You're not getting Elijah Simmons back. That's a big hole. Cooper Mays, though, starting center, controls the tempo. Is that still the biggest issue?
I'm going to go with Cooper Mays simply because offense is your bread and butter. That's what your team's going to win. If your defense is average, you're still going to be a pretty good football team if your offense is good. So if your offense struggles because of your offensive line, I think Cooper Mays is going to be more important. We don't know what we're going to get out of the defense, but we know what they have to get out of their offense. So that being the case, the veteran center over maybe your most important defensive lineman, you could make that argument. I'll still go with the veteran center because this is an offensive team.
And I would say one more thing to remember in this offense, guys, as soon as the play's over, who touches the ball? The center's over there trying to get up and get ready to get to the ball so you can run the next play. I saw a stat, and I will assume it's correct, that Cooper Mays in 1,440 starts had only allowed 4 sacks. So that's also pretty important, too, if you get some pressure right up the middle.
I also think there's a ton of depth at the defensive tackle position. So, I mean, they can go 5 or 6 deep there, I think, still right now,
Yeah.
very comfortably. And clearly the backup center option that they had, they didn't love because they brought in 3 different guys to try to compete for that job, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of it isn't just who you lost, it's who you're replacing them with.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, too, if you watch Tennessee's offense over the past couple of years, how many bad snaps have you seen? I mean, this offense gets derailed when it kind of gets off schedule a little bit.
Right.
One bad snap throws you back 10 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards. So that is something else to think about, too, because Cooper Mays, I can't recall more than a couple of snaps that were just high.
Well, and I think Chuck makes a great point, too, because when you look at pass protection, to date, Joe Milton does not appear to have the pocket presence that Hendon Hooker had. So I'm more concerned about, do you keep a clean pocket for him? And if you're getting pressure up the middle, as Chuck says, it is a concern. Let me tell you, it doesn't seem to be, by the way, we've already had, we're at 100 votes already, so thank you very much. Gotta love Vol fans, gotta love the viewers on this show. Let me go ahead and show you a graphic here. It's a quote from offensive coordinator Joey Halsley. He makes it sound like everything's A-OK. Feel really good about how the offensive line is looking. There are guys that can rotate in and play a bunch of spots, and that's and what's good about that, what's good about the guys we have is that guys can go in and out. We have guys that can play all 3 positions. It's really helping having that kind of utilization with the guys up front. I feel really good about the 5 guys we're going to roll out there in a couple of weeks. I feel like we can put a good product on the field with them. You buy it, or is it just coach speak?
I buy it. I actually do. I mean, like a lot of us have played offensive line because we're larger people, but at lower levels. But it's not that hard to make the transition from guard to center. It's doable. The biggest thing is make sure you have the snap where you need to have the snap, and then there is just a beat that if you have a nose guard above you, that you're just a kind of a beat behind where you would be if you're firing off as a guard, hitting the guy in front of you. So much of what they're going to do is probably going to be zone anyway, though. So you're just taking a step play side. Hit the guy in front of you. So I think it'll be okay, the guys that they have.
But I also think it's also coach speak.
Yeah.
Because what's he going to say if he is one?
Right.
We're doomed. We're doomed.
We got to go to Florida in less than a month. What do we? So no, I think it's both. I believe it, but I also think it's coach speak.
A lot of eyes going to be on Ollie Lane this week.
And here's what you don't want to see. You don't want to see the next starter. You don't want to see the next starter get hurt, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to see somebody else pull up lame, and then all of a sudden you are thinking, oh, gosh, how far down the depth chart are we going to go here?
And now back to my point about Ollie Lane. No, I mean, that's a big step for him to, I mean, filling in for Cooper Mays. You usually don't go into a game with all eyes on the center, but I think that's going to be the case on Saturday.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And once again, that tells you something about how good Cooper Mays has been.
Yeah.
Does it matter that much against Virginia and against Austin Peay?
No, but I think if
Cooper's back from Florida,
yeah.
I think it'll be okay.
You would think it won't matter, but we'll talk about that maybe in this next segment. How about that? That's a good tease for that. All right. Let me tell you what's coming up on the show. Here we got a still to come graphic, just to let you know everything that's coming up. Hey, Bob Hodges' name there. It's a strange day. You'll know why when we come back, as we bring back a returning champion here on the show. Key players this season. We'll talk about that. We'll give you 7 Heupel stats from his first 5 years as a head coach. I went back through every game he's coached. 7 stats that absolutely predict victory. You have to know these. It says there, Will on the 98th anniversary. Will couldn't be here today, so instead we'll be talking about the 25th anniversary of the 1998 National Championship team, season predictions, the Cavaliers line, and much, much more. But when we come back, Mike Strange joins us, and we're going to talk about the Virginia Cavaliers. Are they being underestimated by people like Will West? Come on back on the Sports Source Show.